Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to this live feed, live from Singapore International Airport. So I'm hoping you can hear me really well. Today we're speaking to forgiveness, and it is a big subject matter. It is huge. Forgiveness stunts our growth in so many different ways. Sophie, welcome. People, Jenny, welcome. Let me know that you're on. Put a number 1 in the comment box. Let me know that you're here. Let me know that you're present, because I can't see everybody that's coming on. I'd love to know who's on so I can, of course, welcome you and we can interact and begin to converse about this very pertinent subject matter. Kura, welcome. Good morning. Good morning. Ivana, welcome. Thank you. So, hi Donna. Number 1 in the comment box, guys. Let me know that you're here. Paolo, thank you. 1 in the comment box and maybe a smiley face or a love heart, or just let me know how you're feeling as well. Namaste, namaste. Satnam. So, and if you're new as well, let me know that you're new. Put new in the comment box so that I know that you're new and we can welcome you. The tribe and the community can welcome you. Say hello. So forgiveness is an inside job. It isn't about others. Forgiveness is about us. And I'm going to do my best to unpack this today, because it is Nicola, welcome. How are you, brother? It is a difficult concept to grasp and actually understand, because we want to be present for ourselves, but we want to also be able to almost relinquish the blame. So when something happens in our life, a circumstance, a situation that triggers us, that hurts us, that causes us disdain, that causes us pain, we want to project it outwards, because the ego self really struggles to not so much assume responsibility, but take that internally. So that projection is a safety mechanism, okay? And it helps us navigate through life better. It helps us navigate through life with greater efficacy. So thank you very much. So number 1 in the comment box, guys, if you're here, and let me know how you're feeling as well, so I can see everybody that's coming on, which is really wonderful. Thank you for being here. So we're looking at forgiveness being an internal reorientation of self, and what that means is it's looking at our own lives and understanding our place, and understanding how forgiveness serves us, how forgiveness serves our path, how it lends itself to being of greater value when we forgive and we let go. Like we hear that saying all the time, just let go and forgive. But what does that actually mean? We're gonna unpack that a little bit today, because those words, just forgive and let go, can be very annoying and very, very difficult to grasp when we're in the midst of pain or discomfort, or we're attempting to understand ourselves, we're attempting to connect to who we are. So we really struggle with that concept of just letting go. Forgiveness is not about others. Forgiveness is about us. It truly deeply is about ourselves, and forgiving ourselves for the pain, the shame, the guilt, the rejection we take on from our external world. Now, I'm not insinuating in any capacity that those external to us aren't responsible for their own actions. Absolutely they are, but we cannot be responsible for their actions as well. Generally what happens is when harm is caused to us or pain or fear is projected upon us by others, we tend to then blame others, and we circulate that blame and that shame then back within ourselves, and it becomes this complex, convoluted, almost interplay between between the ego self and between this aspect of self that wants to come from love, that wants to come from a place of connection and recognition. And when I say recognition, I'm speaking to recognition for understanding self, recognition for relating to self in a profound and beautiful way. And here's something for you. I love your input on this. If you can resonate with forgiveness being a pathway to a deepening of self, and being a pathway to enlightening self, put a number 2 in the comment box. If you've experienced in your life when you've let go per se, and you've forgiven yourself and you've forgiven others, in turn is really forgiving yourself, Have you experienced a release, a psychological release from pain and suffering and fear? Pop a number 2 in the comment box and let me know that you can resonate with that. And if you can't, maybe a short comment to assist me in understanding and assist all of us in understanding and connecting to what has happened. So number 2 in the comment box, if you can relate to how forgiveness is deeply liberating for the self. Forgiveness and deep empathy is crucial, is absolutely crucial. Thank you all for putting that number 2 there, and keep it coming if you agree with that, if you resonate with that. We take on the energies of others. We're relational beings, right? We are socialized beings. We learn from each other. We learn with each other. We learn from our environment. We receive information, input from, thank you, Anya. We receive information, it was probably just the lighting, yeah? We receive information, input from our environment, and we take on our environment. That's inclusive of people's projections as well, people's fears, people's pains that they project onto us because they are not ready to deal with it themselves, and we're going to get into that in a moment. So forgiveness and deep empathy in this case, like deep compassion and empathy, that relatability to others, and then being able to act in that through letting go. As we're talking, we're unpacking what letting go actually is. Letting go, in short, is allowing the behaviors of others to not profoundly impact our level or our sense of internalized well-being, that it affects us to a point where we suffer incessantly for it. And that's part of that letting go process, but we can only get there when we are empathetic and we understand that forgiveness is an inside job, yeah? So here it becomes crucial to understand that forgiveness is also love. Patrick Bay, love it, so good. So what we often do is I have a love-hate relationship with that word, Patrick, and it's more hate, let me tell you. So we look for external validation from others. And it's human nature to do that, or human nurture. We've been conditioned to do that. From a socialized perspective, from a relational perspective, it's important for us to have that external validation because it also allows us to know that we are on the right track. We are on a well-aligned track, a track that is conducive to our values and our thoughts and who we are as people. And being validated by those that we love and care for, it's a nice feeling, let's be honest, yeah? I mean, pop a number 3 in the comment box if you can relate to that. And just be honest, just simplify it, come from the ego self, come from superficiality, just come from love. It doesn't really matter. But if it feels good to be validated by others, put a number 3 in the comment box. Validated means that our behaviors are supported by others. So we get that positive reinforcement. Yeah? So number 3 in the comment box if that works. Now, where that becomes undone, where that unpacks itself completely, is when we become too attached to that. And that becomes unhealthy and it becomes pathological. If it's expressed in extremes, it becomes pathological. That's a problem because that affects us. Because in everything we do, we're waiting for others to validate. We're waiting for others to approve. We lose our autonomy. We become disempowered. So when we become disempowered, we lose our authentic power. We lose our ability to think for ourselves. We lose our ability to feel for ourselves, for who we truly are. Again, we begin to lose our individual expression. That becomes dangerous for who we are as people. So when we begin to externalize too much, we're rejecting our own self-worth and our self-value. We're rejecting our ability we're rejecting our smarts. We're rejecting who we are as people. And in essence, when we begin to reject our capacity, our value, when we begin to reject our intellect, our intelligence, our emotional intelligence, our spiritual intelligence, we are effectively abandoning ourselves. We're betraying ourselves. Now, can we imagine when that compounds over time, what happens? What happens is that we lose touch with ourselves. And this cycle and this spiral of shame, internalized shame occurs. And we lose who we are. And that's so sad. And I see it time and time again. I've been that person myself as well, where I've relied so much on externality. I've relied so much on other people's opinions to validate my own actions and behaviors, and I lose myself in that space. We have to, and Beck just says it here, we have to take responsibility for our actions and for our behaviors, for our thoughts, for our emotional literacy, for who we are, for our inspired states. We have to take responsibility for the fullness of who we are, including our shadow stuff as well. And we begin to come from a place of projected perfection, where everything needs to be perfect with respect to how we behave and how we are and how we move through the world. We again lose ourselves. Guys, if you're new to this feed, you've just come on, put new in the comment box. And if you're first time here, put new as well. So I know that you're new, first time to these live feeds. It's wonderful to have you here, because I can't see everybody that's coming on. So let me know that you are new. Yeah. So our interpretation of of our own experiences, the way we interpret, understand and connect to our own experiences, really set up our journey for whether that journey is one of wellness, one of health, one of clarity, one of non-pathology, or whether it's a journey of harm, whether it's a, you're not that old, Anya. Whether it's a journey of disconnection, whether it's a journey of fear. Emma, welcome. Thank you for being here. Tribe, welcome her. Community, welcome Emma. Thank you so much. I hope you're getting something from this. I'm a little bit, I've been traveling, so I'm a little bit tired, so I'm hoping that the message is coming across loud and clear. Not so much loud, but with clarity. We don't forgive to relinquish others, although that definitely can occur. We forgive to fill our own cup. We forgive to feel our joy, our love, our connection, our validation for self, our internalized validation. That becomes a deeply empowering process for who we wish to be in life and how we choose to move through life. So we must recognize that we are the source of our own fulfillment. And when we realize this, we move away from a victimhood mentality. Give me number 4 in the comment box if you can resonate and relate to that. So when we realize that we become the source of our own fulfillment and our own meaning in life, we begin to move away from a victimhood mentality, which is disempowering, which is a mentality or an approach or a posture of apathy, which is a posture as well of not taking action in proportion to what we value most, to what is most important to us. So give me number 4 in the comment box if you can deeply relate to that, yeah? So we begin to understand that it's so deeply important to not be afraid of love. Sorry, one moment, guys. It'll be 5 minutes. Is that okay? Oh, is that okay? Yeah. It's not okay. Okay. Looks like I've got to move, guys. I'm not in a good spot. So give me a moment. Sorry, guys. One moment, guys, just got to move, just in the lounge, that's all. Okay, cool, I'm back on. Okay, cool. Apologies. I'll just adjust the camera. Cool, okay. So we begin to realise that we are the source of our own fulfillment, yeah? So we need to move away from victimhood, because when we're stuck in victimhood mentality, we just got to adapt, Anya. We just got to adapt. Just got to move. That's all. I think people were sitting there. So we realise that it's okay to be who we truly are. It's okay to express the fullness of who we truly are, and we begin then when we move away from victimhood. We begin to love ourselves with greater clarity, and this is the foundation of everything that we are. This is the foundation of removing ourselves from fear. Got to move again. Thank you. Okay, we're on. I won't have to move again. Okay, so apologies, people. So let me just make an adjustment here. So we realize that love is all there is, and that all we need to do is love ourselves and love everything in our environment, everything in our perimeter. Now, this does not mean that we accept people's behaviours, or if people's behaviours aren't conducive to the health of our own path, or they are, for example, damaging to us, that we don't distance ourselves from that. But we do it from a place of love. We do it from a place of compassion and empathy. And this then, this allows us, third time lucky, we're in now. This allows us to deeply receive that, the essence and the message of forgiveness, So when we begin, and this is very difficult for so many of us to do, because we get stuck in ego. And ego says, well, they have hurt us, or they're a perpetrator and I'm a victim, and they have done this to me, and the ego can't let go. The ego is very good at knowing how to ask, but it's not good at knowing how to receive. And part of that forgiveness and that love is receiving love for self, is forgiving self, and is about connecting to self as well. So we begin to then further understand that one person's atrocity is not another's, but we all know pain and harm and loss. And if someone feels pain, it's not necessary to understand that that person's pain is the same as ours, or another person's fear is the same as ours. But it makes sense, though, to understand that we all feel depth of pain, and we all have that within us. We all have that capacity to feel very deeply. So again, it becomes very important to learn to forgive ourselves, to learn to forgive the fullness of who we are. So Diane says it's easy to forgive, not so easy to forget. And this is really interesting, because what is it that we want to forgive? What is it that we want to forget? It's about understanding self fully. So is it the pain that we choose that we want to forget, or is it the action? Is it the dishonoring? What is it that we choose to forget, or that we are choosing to forgive as well? And understanding that everything that people do, the actions that we take, are either because we are disconnected from self, or either is because we are disconnected from self, or we are not ready to receive fully. We're not ready to receive fully love. So we project and we hurt and we attack. And the ego says, it's reject and harm first, so we are not hurt later, and that's what the ego does. So, when we love openly, ego becomes just completely destroyed, and it's too confronting to be fully loved for so many of us. So we hurt people. So when you can understand that, and you come from a place of compassion, empathy, you understand that people aren't choosing to hurt you on purpose. People are choosing to protect themselves, and as a defense mechanism, we hurt others, we project and we hurt others, and it becomes deeply painful, and it's not easy. It's completely challenging. And that's where it's so difficult to forgive others. But if we can begin to, again, let go and move in that space of forgiveness, again, of self, and forgiveness of all that are involved, we begin to come from a place of love. And that for us is so powerful. Letting go is a realization that we are more than our ego, because the ego doesn't want to let go. The ego wants to remain with what is familiar and comfortable and safe. But when we begin to let go, we are telling the ego, we're telling psychological fear to relax. No, I don't think he did, Anya, not consciously anyway. And Rebecca's right, we keep protection barriers up for not wanting to feel that pain again. But the reality is, if we keep attaching ourselves to that pain, that past pain, it will keep presenting itself in the present. The journey of self-love, because it's all about love, is forgiveness of self, and recognizing that we're not the target of others, but they are simply unconscious in their being, and that we are able to grow together and learn and become and evolve when we realize this, when we realize that most of us are so unconscious in our actions, and we struggle to come from love. It's a really difficult thing for so many of us to do. And I've been that person before in my life as well. We just want to protect ourselves, our identity, and so forth. But to know that what we heal in ourselves liberates others deeply. What we heal in ourselves liberates others deeply because it allows us to be open. It allows us to come from a place of openness, not from a place of fear and constriction. Because when we forgive, we love, and love brings fear to consciousness. We then dissipate this fear. That's what happens when fear is brought into consciousness, is brought into conscious awareness. It dissipates, it breaks down. That's what happens. And with that, shame breaks down, guilt breaks down, pain breaks down, because it becomes obvious, it becomes conscious, it's in the open, it becomes malleable. Whatever's malleable can be transmuted, transformed into a different energy. It's really important to understand that when people lash out to us, when people are aggressive towards us or attack us or hurt us, it's a warning sign that they are suffering deeply. And if you can get closer, it will cause more pain towards you. So it's not a bad thing that people are behaving in that way. Don't look at it as good or bad, but look at it as a defense mechanism. And understanding it will bring us back and observe the situation from a different perspective, a different vantage point, and not allow us to hurt so deeply and take it so personally. Again, I'm not excusing people's behaviour if they are aberrant towards you, but it's understanding this is going to liberate us tremendously. Yeah? We all have our own battlefields, like all of us, and we often will say, "Why are you treating me this way? Why are you behaving in this way?" And really, it is looking at how that individual is treating themselves, and it's their relationship to their own truth that will dictate their behaviours and how they treat others. So if they are closed, it's because they are in a deep wounding battle with self. And Carol says, absolutely, forgiveness sets us free from pain. I understand this quite well, having been in a narcissistic marriage. The only way to set free and not let people gaslight is to forgive and move on, healing and growth completely. So understanding that people are in their own battle, their own inner mental, emotional, spiritual battle is so important for our own growth as well, yeah? So forgiveness is an inside job, people. And the reorientation of forgiveness must come to self first, is to accept self, is to love self, is to realise and recognise our self-worth and who we are as people and how we choose to move through the world, yeah? It's so important in terms of letting go, in terms of allowing ourselves to be the fullness of who we are. Remember, if you do not allow yourself to connect to your pain and to your fear, you will lose an opportunity to move that fear on. You will lose an opportunity to let that fear go. And you will lose an opportunity to move yourself away from debilitating, persistent pain. So people, I want to say thank you so much for being here. I want to say it's been wonderful to have you. Please, if you believe in this message of forgiveness, please feel free to share this video. Share it with those you love, share it on your page, just share it. Share the love, share the tribe. If you're new, please put new in the comment box so I know that you're new and will come back and welcome you. Brooke says, given that it's almost natural for a majority of people who have felt great pain inflicted by others or as a result of our own actions to put up walls or start self-sabotaging, how do you suggest redirecting that energy? I think that's all you're saying, Brooke, because it cuts out, unfortunately. The comment cuts out. So, what I said earlier is about understanding that people are in their own battlefield, and when they're projecting, it's not really against you, it's actually protection for them. But it just happens to be that it's against someone else, and it's the ego self acting out of fear and acting out of pain that does that. So understanding that and being compassionate and empathetic to that is a starting point, and it opens us up to forgiveness of self, but again of the other, but again it's forgiveness of self. It's forgiving self in every way possible, which is loving self, which is recognizing our value and our own self-worth in this world, in the way we choose to move, yeah? So feel into that. Feel into where in your life you could forgive yourself for not being this grand version of self or not always doing the right thing. Forgiveness is very challenging, it's deeply challenging, and that's often though the most challenging experiences are the most valuable experiences and the ones worthy of complete pursuit. And it's an evolving process. You know, like when you think you've just got something, you've just been able to forgive, or something else will occur in your life, a situation will arise, a person will trigger you, and it will challenge you deeply, and you have to go back into self and know that you are exactly where you need to be, especially if you are conscious, especially if you are aware of your actions, your behaviors, your internalized state. And that's a process of discovery and self-awareness and really connecting to self. Yeah, so it's all about connecting to self and being open with self. So once again, people, share this video if it is of value to you, if it resonates with you. Please feel free to comment, ask questions. I'll get to them over the next couple of days, of course. Thank you so much for being here once again. Many blessings on your journey, and one, as always, is so happy and glad to be of service. I feel truly humbled and blessed that you are all here. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Take care now. Bye.